War. War never changes.
All right, we are live. Welcome to War Never Changes, episode number 10. On your left side, you'll see me, Jim, but more importantly, on the right, Mr. Cool as Ice, my co host and partner, Phil McCracken.
What's up, guys?
You look so nice and vibrant. You're nice in the frame. You're leaning in. You're attentive. I'm feeling a lot. Oh, that light. Oh, God. Okay, there we go. Much better. We have so much news to digest this week. This was one of the busiest gaming weeks in terms of like news coverage in a really, really, really long time. And that's good for us because it gives us something to talk about. You agree? silence is silence is concurrence, sir. Okay, so I wanted to actually start off today talking about Mixer.
An
I have a lot to
expensive
say on the
failure.
subject. A lot to say on the subject. But before I bogart the show, I want to hear what you think about this whole just train wreck of an event or this whole situation. What are your thoughts?
What an expensive mistake on the part of Microsoft. Holy
Dude,
crap.
dude.
I can't imagine like their income forecasting must have been like, yeah, we just paid these people a cumulative 40 or 50 million dollars for exclusivity, but we're going to hemorrhage twice that. So, may as well just scrap the company, let them keep their money and let them go stream somewhere else, I guess. Can you imagine? Okay,
Oof.
I'm Ninja. I just got a $30 million payday. I'm totally out of my contract. I'm going to go sign a ridiculous exclusive somewhere else, probably Twitch. Like,
Right.
is this the first professional gamer to $100 million?
Well, it's in terms of streaming, I would think so. In terms of like the lineage of professional video gamers, the one who stands out the most to me is a guy named Fatality. He secured a partnership deal very early on with computer parts. So he was branded as like, hey, buy this motherboard. It's the Fatality motherboard, the Fatality graphics card, whatever. I don't know how much that guy made, but he was one of the first to really break out in terms of marketing himself outside of the gaming universe.
I gotcha.
Ninja definitely very, I mean, I would say a household name. You see his merchandise at stores. If you ever get to go to a store anymore, his merchandise is actually on sale there. He's got partnerships up the yin yang. He's heavily featured in a lot of Fortnite tournaments. He does special live stream events with just him playing against other people. Um, I'm just so shocked that this was such a failure. And I mean, I'm just my mind's blown. Like I have so many questions for whoever decided this was a good approach. I don't know who signed off on this. They should all be very, very upset with themselves.
Yeah. I don't know. I think Microsoft got a little bit too big for its britches in this situation, and they thought that just if they threw a bunch of money behind it, they could make it popular, and it didn't work out for them. Twitch kicked their ass roundly.
So if you look at there's some figures that have been floating around in terms of pre-COVID and post-COVID numbers. And unsurprisingly, Twitch, YouTube, and even Facebook surprisingly showed a marginal increase in their viewership because we had nowhere to go. Mixer basically stayed flat. So it wasn't for, I don't know, lack of trying. I mean, they did go out and secure who they thought was big name talent in both Ninja and in Shroud. They did secure some other people as well, but I feel like this is one of those situations where they had a really good technology, it just wasn't embraced, and honestly, I don't feel like it was marketed very well.
I want to know what Facebook's even going to do with this technology.
That's my rant. That's what blows my mind. As a gamer, I am not going to Facebook to watch live streams or news. Facebook is like Farmville and pictures of my dog to my grandma. That's what Facebook is for. Facebook is going to suffer the same problem I think YouTube did, where YouTube gaming was a colossal failure because people didn't go there for that.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't trust Facebook with my camera feed anyway. to be totally honest. I try not to share any real data with them whatsoever. I don't have where I work on my Facebook. I don't even have my real phone number. So
Yeah.
uh, it's I don't trust them with any of my data. And I'm definitely not going to download an app that they own and give it access to one of my cameras.
I tend to agree with you. I mean, I'm definitely a little more social than most people because I'm on YouTube. I have a very active Twitter account where I'm constantly posting pictures and promoting the channel and stuff like that. But I'm definitely in the minority. I know a lot of the other streamers and people who are interested in that kind of stuff would probably not care so much either, that they have more of like a public persona. But in terms of the layman, and that's really, I think, what drives your platform. People, oh, I want to dabble in this. I want to try this. I don't think people are going to be so excited to jump into Facebook. And Microsoft doesn't even seem that convinced about it themselves. They announced the other day that they would not be integrating Facebook streaming into the Xbox. So that's going to be gone.
And the world yawned.
I'll say this. This is my real question for you. Do you think that this has any bearing at all on me being worried that the Microsoft console brand as a whole is in big trouble? Do you think
No,
this is anywhere related to any of that? It's just a totally independent thing.
no. I think that Microsoft is already in games, and they saw an incredibly lucrative opportunity in trying to capitalize on the game streamer market because of what Twitch did, and
Yeah.
they tried to will something into existence and make it popular, and no matter how much money they threw behind it, it didn't matter. So I think this is just a failure on their part, and now they're going to have to double down and really focus on their console and make sure that that's good.
I'm scared because I like competition and I see what happens in the world when there is no competition. And I'm worried that Twitch, with some really ridiculous policies they already have in place, now know that they are truly the only show in town. I mean, maybe we'll see the rise of another Beam slash Mixer in 20 years or something. But it seems like for now, Twitch owns it and you're going to play by their rules or you're not going to play.
Yeah, that's tough. I don't know what Facebook is going to do with this. I don't know if they're going to incorporate their ownership of Instagram into it somehow and
Right.
make live streaming through Instagram. They've already got Instagram Live, so I'm assuming they could figure out how to make the two play together.
Possibly.
Facebook has a lot of money,
Yeah.
and you're kind of right. That's a point I didn't consider when we started talking about it, but knowing that you're not only the biggest dick in town, but you're the only dick in town, kind of gives you authority all over a lot.
The
And
last dick standing.
yeah, I don't know that I want one person or one entity to have that much power over creative expression.
You know, Twitch has really grown in popularity over the last few years with their just chatting subgroup, not about games, but people doing that ASMR where they like tap on the microphone and whisper. People just live streaming themselves playing guitar or talking. Lately, with all the protests, people have been live streaming their coverage of that. They're turning it into like weekly news feeds. So there are other outlets I feel like where you could, Twitch isn't just purely gaming, but definitely synonymous with gaming. And I am really worried now that Twitch with Amazon's backing is going to be impossible to beat.
Well, creative expression, creative freedom, the ability to not be politically correct.
Yeah.
See you later.
Yeah, you're right. Dude, it's something that we definitely haven't explicitly talked about. I mean, we dabbled a little bit in it a couple episodes ago, but yeah, I mean, these are the walls closing in on a lot of that stuff, and I'll be really curious to see how people react when Twitch starts laying down some aggressive rules if they want to, because there's nowhere to go. And let's be honest, you and I both know we're on episode 10. I'd say by episode 100, Facebook gaming is gone.
Yeah.
No way they survive.
I don't know what they're going to do.
So, yeah, I don't know either. Um, other exciting news not related to Mixer. I just wanted to get that off my chest because that just blew me away. We have had a smorgasbord of game announcements. Now remember that our week, for people watching at home, we're Wednesday to Wednesday. We record on Wednesdays for the most part. So for me, the week was last Wednesday to today, June 24th. In no particular order, Pokemon released not one, but two live streams where they went over a plethora of new games. They had some weird cell phone game that you could brush your teeth with. They had a bunch of weird stuff. But they had Pokemon Snap, and today they announced Pokemon Unite, which is their throwing in the hat into the MOBA arena. What do you think about
Charizard that? Says brush your teeth or else.
Or else. I don't know. Yeah, I had texted a friend about that, and I said, hey, like, walk me through this. Why would I want this? And he said, it's very hard to get kids to brush their teeth. And I said, oh. So he goes, I mean, clearly it's not for an adult. Like, a 38-year-old man is not going to be sitting there playing Pokemon toothbrush game. But it just seemed very odd to me. Like, of all the things we could release and talk about, we're going to make a toothbrushing game? Like, really? That's what we're working on now?
So many 38-year-old men have downloaded this, Jim. You're so wrong there. You're so wrong. So many have. And they're loving it. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Well, what do you think about Pokemon Snap, though? I mean, that to me, that was the big announcement. I lost my shit when I saw Pokemon Snap come out. I played the hell out of some Pokemon Snap.
I loved Pokemon Snap for the N64. I'm super excited for it for Switch. I can't wait for it to come out because we'll both have it day one and we can just fanboy out via text all day.
I am so glad. There was a small fear that I had that Pokemon Snap would reemerge as some sort of dopey augmented reality game where you had to hold up your cell phone and take pictures of Pokemon out in the world like the Pokemon Go mobile game. And I'm so glad they're making a proper console release that I can play with normal hardware and none of this dopey phone stuff. I was nervous. I thought that was happening.
I am also grateful that they've put it on the Switch. It's going to be its own thing. I'm super happy about that, and I'm excited to learn more about it. But I want to hear what you have to say about Pokemon Unity.
Yeah, Pokemon
Unite.
Unite,
yes. Whatever.
Well, it's funny because I Googled it today when I was putting together our show notes. There is an effort using the Unity graphics engine, so there is a Pokemon Unity, but this isn't that. This is Pokemon Unite. And what this game is about is it's a 5-on-5 MOBA, a massive online battle arena game, similar to League of Legends or Heroes of the Storm. And it actually looks really cool. You haven't really played any of those games before, have you? You're missing out, young man. I got to tell you, they're fun. This game is very dumbed down. Both Heroes of the Storm and League of Legends are very objective based. Pushing a lane, attacking at the right time, gathering enough forces with the constant push of minions. They call them creep. I know I'm boring you, but it's important because I said it is. To work your way down the lane to defeat the enemy. This one seems to be more like a cash grab, where there's like, hey, there's points everywhere. Go get a point. If you stand on the point long enough, you get it. Whatever. They do that to promote team fighting. That's the whole point. They want you to engage the enemy. They don't want you to just be off doing your own thing. So you could expect a lot of combat of you're on a point, the enemy's on a point, your team comes over, their team comes over, and there's this epic battle. Whoever wins gets the point. That's what they want to have happen, and I like that. I think it looks cool. It's something different for Pokemon for sure. And I mean, we all know Pikachu's the best, so that's who I'm going to play as.
What do you think about Tencent's involvement in Timmy Studios being involved with it?
Okay, so Tencent worries me. We actually
I knew it would.
Tencent worries me. We're actually going to talk about them a little bit later with Crossfire X. It's a little teaser there, but Tencent worries me because when they get involved, not that they don't know how to make premier platinum type games, or mobile platform games rather. We've seen them involved in a lot of things. typically monetization comes right after, and it comes very aggressively, very rapidly. A lot of mobile games have been dominated by this 10-cent model, and while they say it's free to start, sure as shit it's not going to be free to start for a long time because they're going to want money, a lot of money. That's what I'm worried about.
Yeah, I'm on the same page, but I'll just tell you what, I'm gonna I don't know what the duration of enjoyability or replayability for this game is. Like, okay, I get it, battle. This is cool for like the first 10, 15 hours. I could probably play this game for 20 hours, and then after 20 hours or however long it takes for them, if it's like a set ticker per account that's registered, or if it's for a set date range, I'm sure I can get my enjoyment out of it and check it out. And then when they want money from me, I can kindly tell them to F off my console and delete it.
That's true. The fact that it's going to be cross-play between mobile and Nintendo Switch, while very cool, the mobile market is very, very microtransaction heavy, and I'm worried that Nintendo Switch is going to get pulled into that market, and you're going to see a very quick divide of people buying stuff and people not buying stuff. And I think you're going to be playing with like a boring, basic bitch Pikachu, and some dude's going to be like totally rocked out, like, way, way cooler than you. Yes.
The crossplay is fine. There's no way that I'm going to put a Chinese-owned game, Chinese company's platform or app onto my phone. There's a reason I never downloaded TikTok. Some of the TikTok videos I see come across Instagram are hilarious, and I'd love to be able to watch them first party and follow these people, but there's no way I'm putting that application on my phone. So the Pokemon game will never, ever, ever. I didn't download Pokemon Go. And I'm not going to download this on my phone. I might buy it for Switch, but that's it.
Yeah, MOBA games have a very interesting fan base that definitely ebbs and flows. Whenever a new character is announced, people typically flock back to that. If there's not a lot of new maps and new objectives that are placed, it's going to get stale quickly. I still play Heroes of the Storm. I took a long time off, but I still play it with a couple friends. But we are definitely in the minority in terms of people who are still actively playing this game. It's largely dead. I think the Pikachu and the Pokemon branding will just like push it through so far. But I do agree with you. I feel like this is a game that if you're interested in, you better play it when it first comes out because it's going to very wildly swing into paying later on and you're not going to have fun with it. So this has got to be, I agree with you. We're going to be a day one playing the hell out of this and then we're going to be done. That's what I think is going to happen.
Yeah. Let's safely project this as a brief commercial success and then a long-term failure. I'm going to call it right now and just say that this is not going to turn out how they want it to turn out.
I think you're right.
Pokemon is already starting to get greedy with the DLC, which I can't remember them ever doing to us before. But they're going to milk a total of the base game was $60. Each DLC is $40. So they're going to try to eke $140 per copy out of this game with not a whole lot of additional content. So I just think they're getting greedy. They're going down the wrong road, and I'm not going to follow them down that road. I'll always have my yellow version and my Game Boy to play.
And Pokemon Snap whenever it comes out, and that'll be hopefully a one-time purchase.
Jim, really, it's not going to be a one-time purchase. You're going to get Johto or Kanto up front, and then if you want to take pictures of all the other Pokemon and all the other different unique locations, guess what? DLC, buddy.
Film is not free in this game. That's the rub. You can.
Oh, you want to take more pictures? We have never heard of digital cameras before.
Yeah, it's not called Pokemon Snaps. You get one shot, make it count.
Yeah, or maybe it'll be something totally different that we're not expecting. It'll be like dirty Snapchat exchanges with Pokemon.
Pikachu likes this. All right. Moving on to Marvel's Avengers. That was actually pretty cool today. Now, you didn't get a chance to watch that, did you?
No.
All right. Did you recall seeing Marvel's Avengers teased last year during the last round of E3 back in 2019?
Yeah, they were like in a plane or something.
So I don't have a lot of skin in the game in terms of Marvel's Avengers other than I like the movies. But in terms of like diehard comic book fanness or, understanding, I don't understand any of that. Now, My friend is obsessed with comic books, and he's constantly explaining to me, hey, look, this is from this story, this is whatever. He was really, really aggressively upset a lot of the character designs. And like Captain America was wearing a flak jacket, which doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. And some of the other.
Non-canonical.
What's that?
Non-canonical.
Yeah, non-canonical. And the truth is, I agree with them. They do look weird. In my head, I'm thinking of like Tony Stark is really Robert Downey Jr. So if somebody who's Iron Man isn't Robert Downey Jr., doesn't sound like him, doesn't look like him, I'm like, wait a minute. But I understand that the movie universe and the gaming universe have to be separated.
They don't have to be separated. We could have just given RDJ a bunch of money, and he would have come and been a smartass into a microphone. No problem.
Man, that would have been cool. You want to talk about transmedia and moving things along and getting more hype for something. How amazing would it at the end of Avengers Endgame, Tony Stark will return in Marvel's Avengers coming out this year, PlayStation, Xbox One. That would have been amazing, right?
Yeah. Everyone loses their collective minds.
But they didn't do that. What they did show today, though, was some new gameplay. It looks really cool. They're going to have a committed single-player story, and then they're also going to include a multiplayer kind of event-driven world, kind of like Destiny, like a persistent universe where you're going to do adventures and stuff. The only thing I noticed, and I'm sure a lot of people probably didn't notice this, but me and frame rates, right? What's what I always talk about, frame rates. There was a noticeable graphic degradation in the trailer twice, and I confirmed this on 2 separate uploads, 2 separate sources. I don't think the game's gonna run well, and if it doesn't, I'm gonna be really pissed. I'm just saying that right now.
Yeah. I don't think it's going to run well either, and I don't think it's going to be a commercial success. This happens. The only game that I can really think of that has escaped this, as far as the comic book universe, is the Spider-Man.
Oh, yes.
It's a Spider-Man game. But think of any other superhero game you've ever played.
Right.
They take an incredibly recognizable and extremely valuable IP. They build a half-ass video game around that IP. A bunch of people who are comic book fans buy it, they make their money, and then they say, okay, God. I don't know if you remember Superman for N64.
Oh my God, that game was shit.
But that was kind of a travesty. And I guess there was, what's the game that came out for PS3 and PS4 with the DC Universe superheroes, the fighter game?
Injustice, that was pretty good.
Injustice was very good, and I enjoyed that. And I'll say that was a commercial hit, but other than those two that I just mentioned, I don't expect much out of superhero franchise games, and I'm a big Marvel comic movie fan.
Right.
I am not a comic book guy. I don't have any ill will towards comic book people. It's a really cool hobby. It is. But I don't have the time, money, or interest for it. So
the one caveat I'll give is I think Batman was a very good game. And I don't know if you played a lot of Batman, but all the Arkham games, the recent series, Arkham Knight, Arkham City, just Arkham Asylum, those were all really, really solid games. Very mature.
Yeah,
but did you just say they were okay? Hold on. If I press
they're okay.
If I press this button, I think it turns your feed off. No, I'm just kidding.
Nobody's here for me anyway.
That's not true. Well, it's a good transition because I do believe that the Batman games were valuable, and as such, so does AT&T because they're putting up all the Warner Brother games for sale. The entire division that includes all their Lego games, all their Batman games, Lord of the Rings, Mortal Kombat, Injustice, and one of my favorites, Dying Light, all up for sale.
How much do you think they want for them? Like $1?
I've seen numbers floating around in the billions. Okay, so think that, and this is different because, every game is different. Every market penetration is different. The truth is, these games, the Lego games are definitely gold mines, no doubt about it. Anything Lego, Star Wars, Batman, any of the superhero games, any of those, Lord of the Rings, they're all very, very, very recognizable games. The Lego games sell like gangbusters. Lord of the Rings, the franchise, definitely on a downward swing after the last game induced a lot of microtransactions. Mortal Kombat is still very incredibly popular. Dying Light I threw in there, probably not a lot of people remember it. But I think they're going to get in the billions. I'm thinking like anywhere from like 2 to 3 billion. I think that's a good value for the
Do
whole
you
thing.
think they're going to sell them? You think they'll piecemeal them out, or they're going to sell them as one whole package?
I would love as a fan for them to sell them out to other places. I feel like you're going to see a bidding war between THQ Nordic, who buys everything, Xbox, who really needs the win, and PlayStation, who just wants to have even more exclusivity over everybody else. I think those are the three big candidates that we're going to see into a monster bidding war. So I think if any of those three broke out, and if like PlayStation picked up all these or Xbox picked up all these, I think that's going to be revolutionary.
Okay, so who's going to buy these games? First of all, who could really take all these different? Because the Arkham series and the Lego series, while there was Lego Batman, they're two very different things.
Yeah.
So you have to have a creative studio that could use both those different IPs and do it right, and have the creative talent for something that's wonky and zany and something that's very mature and dark and story driven.
Right.
Also, what do you think the actual final price is going to be? Let's put a price tag on this. And as a line of demarcation, 6 years ago, Robert Iger, on behalf of the Walt Disney Company, acquired Lucasfilm.
Yes.
In its entirety, and all of its associated properties and holdings and all of that, which is fucking Star Wars and Indiana Jones and all that shit, for the ripe, old, incredibly small number, I think, of $4 billion. A few years prior to that, they paid only $7 billion for Pixar. Pixar, one of the most creative studios of our entire generation, with some of the most beloved children's stories ever told.
Yeah.
With some of the most brilliant, I mean, they got part and parcel. They got the existing contracts of all the creative directors. They got the buildings. They got everything for that $7 billion. So for a couple of video game franchises, what do you think the price will actually be? I'm going to say market cap no more than $1.7 billion for everything.
I said it earlier and I say it again. I think it's going to be north of 2 billion. I think 2 billion plus. And I think it's going to largely be because there's going to be a bidding war because people know that these are hot properties. And Batman is going to sell very well. The movie's going to come out. DC's on the rise with better movies. I think these are really hot properties right now.
So the whole DC universe is included in this, or a Batman game?
It's unclear. It says they're selling the Warner Brothers game division, which I assume would be the rights to anything that Warner Brothers made, which would include any of the DC movies. Just because there isn't a Wonder Woman game today, there could be in the future, and I feel like this would be lumped in with that.
Okay, well, so you're saying that the rights to those games is just as valuable as the entire Star Wars franchise, because that was half the sale for that $4 billion.
When you put it that way, no, I do not. I think Star Wars as a global brand is significantly greater. However, we're talking video game math here, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And you have a company like Minecraft, which sold for $2 billion, and THQ Nordic is throwing, half a billion into some of these franchises that largely shouldn't be sold. And I don't understand how they're scooping up all these lesser IPs, but they are. So yeah, I see people with the dollar signs on the wall. You look at what numbers Last of Us just put out, how many copies that game is projected to sell, and that is that one game would basically pay for this transaction. You're talking serious money.
I'm going to stick with my understanding what you're saying and recognizing that you're right. I admit that I will probably be wrong, but my gut tells me to stick with my 1.7 billion or less dollar figure.
Who do you think will end up? Let me ask you this. Do you think Microsoft will throw all that Mixer money right at this and say, I don't care what it costs, we need a win for our console? Or do you think that it's going to go to some, like a THQ, or it's going to be broken up? I think Microsoft is going to move heaven and earth to get this thing. I really do.
I think EA is going to buy it.
Oh, God, no. The Star Wars Batman crossover event. Find out what happens right after the DLC.
No, but if EA doesn't get it, I agree. Microsoft Studios will probably throw unfathomable amounts of money at this thing.
They need a win,
but can
man.
you imagine if they took like the Lego games and the Batman games or all the DC games and made them Xbox exclusive?
Dude, that would be a huge win. A huge win. Wow.
I don't know if it'll work out.
Well, I pick on Xbox a lot, and I think sometimes I'm a little too critical of them. That said, I've done a lot of independent review. I know. Whoa, stop the. I'll tell you what.
Stop the presses.
I've been doing a lot of videos independently, just on just reviewing games. A lot of these Game Pass games, and they're shit. They're straight up shit, and you get really excited, and you're like, and I play them, and I'm like, no, I'm not, I'm out, and I'm worried that the same people who are investing in these games would then take a Batman game and just dump on it. But as a fan of just the whole brand, I want this to sell for a lot because I want it to validate that this is a real thing, and I need that in my life. I need a win, Phil, okay? Batman's got to sell for a lot of money. But I'll tell you what, if Sony wins this, if Sony's even interested, and I don't know, if Sony comes out and announces that they've won, and they do that, do you remember the Andrew House video where they announced that Hideo Kojima was signing an exclusive contract with PlayStation to develop Death Stranding? Do you remember that?
Vaguely.
This is the biggest slap your dick on the table moment in my life. Andrew House, it's a 2-minute video. It's a tight shot of him, and he goes, "My name is Andrew House. I have a very important announcement." He pans out. Hideo Kojima is sitting next to him. Fanboys everywhere just splooge, just everywhere. It's just a fountain. And they're like, we just signed this guy, basically an unlimited contract. He's all the money in the world. He has our full backing on our support. We're giving him the source code to Horizon Zero Dawn. We're going to make a game that's exclusively coming to PlayStation. And everyone was like, I need that moment. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but man, whoever wins this, if it's PlayStation or Sony, that is a monster win. Monster win.
I mean, how does this work with PlayStation's already doing really cool stuff with Marvel games, like the Spider-Man stuff. Like, do you think that there's a world where they can have the rights to all the DC games and Spider-Man?
Like a crossover game? Now, yeah. I mean, come on. You see the trailer. You see Spider-Man fighting. He's like losing, and then the batarang gets stuck in the wall next to him, and it's like, coming soon, Batman. I know that would never happen. I'm totally geeking out at this point, but it's a video game. Anything could happen. Just like you said, it's a different universe. We live wherever we want to. I don't know, man. I'm just fanboy jonesing like at this point, but I'm just saying that this is one to watch. I think this announcement, this is a really big deal. I really think so. I think it's going to tilt the tides of the next generation for sure.
Let's stop speculating about this. Let's move on. But this is one of those moments, like we always mention on our show, where it is incredibly good to be a gamer.
Hell
right now.
Yes, it is. So we were talking about really cool things. Now let's go on the other end of the spectrum. Let's talk about EA Play.
I have been waiting all week to tell you this. At the very beginning of it, I was laying on my couch watching it.
Okay. I don't know where this is going.
I quite literally fell asleep.
It was that good, huh?
It was so bad, Jim.
Dude.
It was so bad. This was just an excuse for them to talk about Star Wars Squadrons. I mean, they're like, oh, Sims, and a bunch of other crap we don't care about. Oh, and at the very end, 2 old guys talking about a skateboard game. Like, great. I guess I'd be excited about that if Tony Hawk Pro Skater wasn't coming.
With gameplay, with a collector's edition on the market in October, We saw it. It's a real thing. Versus these two old guys like, hey, you remember that skateboarding game? Yeah, we think we want to make one again. That was the big,
Yeah.
that was the grand. You think back to the Sony announcement, the final announcement. Here's the console. Here's the digital console. Here's the hardware. EA's final announcement. Hey, man, we're going to make more games. Well, great. Oh, my God.
We've been awake for the last 3 weeks noticing how much hype has surrounded the Tony Hawk game. And guess what we're going to do? We're going to make another skating game.
See?
Because it's cool again.
Oh, my God. Did you watch EA play 2019?
No.
So I was there, and it was not very well received. And to go back even a year further, in 2018, I was watching it. I didn't go live, but I watched the announcement. And the big announcement that game was that Vince Zampella from Respawn Entertainment was working on a Star Wars game, which turned out to be The Last Jedi, The Fallen Order. That was the announcement, just that, hey, we're working on something. So these guys at EA do not have a clue when it comes to these, oh my God, shocking game moments. They're very it just drizzles off. And this whole conference was really bad, and it begs the question, why even have it?
They can't even get their employees to be enthusiastic about it.
Dude, you're right.
These people, you could tell that they hate working for EA. Like, this contract is up. I am so out of here.
The guy holding the help me sign in the background, like...
Look at all these golden letters, and 12 people are going to win a game download or something. I don't know.
Did you actually follow the clues? Because it actually spelled out kill me. It was bad, dude. There was some silver lining, which they are bringing crossplay. They are finally dumping Origin for Steam, which is important for us PC Master Racers. But outside of that, which could have been a tweet, it really could have been a tweet, we saw no really new games. We had a lot of very weird transitions, people who just didn't seem excited, like you said. It was bad. It was bad, and it really... we picked on Bethesda, or, well, you did, because, I'm a Bethesda fanboy. We picked on Bethesda regarding the fact that they said they weren't doing an announcement this year. I think EA probably could have sat this one out and nobody would have missed it.
I think that what you just mentioned, sending it out as a tweet, would have gotten more buzz around it. I think that if they would have randomly gone on Twitter and released a snippet of that trailer, and then 15 seconds later said Skate 4, and 15 seconds later said crossplay, and 15 seconds later dumping Origin, going with Steam, I think that would have whipped everyone up into a frenzy, those 4 bullet points, and they'd still be riding the wave of notoriety right now. But instead, they got a bunch of idiots that didn't want to be there to be on camera by force and tell bad jokes. And for some reason, some crazy guy with long hair and a weird accent swearing.
Yeah, that was Joseph Fares. He is the creative design behind a game called A Way Out, which was really actually a lot of fun. Don't care. Way Out was really fun. I really enjoyed it. For some reason, I did this YouTube video review on it, and I only got 3 hits. And I don't understand why. To this day, it's like my least viewed video, and it pisses me off. So go out there and watch it because it's a good review, okay? Little cheap plug there.
We need to title this episode Unpopular Opinions.
So the last conference, which I'm going to skim over because there was actually a few, and I didn't even text you about it because I knew you wouldn't have cared. We had the new game developer conference, which was a bunch of weird Japanese games. And then we also had the Games Summerfest, which included the Day of the Devs. To me, the highlight of that was not the Crash Bandicoot game, but Alf coming out and roasting Jeff Keighley. I know you weren't a fan of Alf, but that was really the only notable thing that happened out of all those conferences.
No. I liked Alf roasting Jeff Keighley. I felt like Jeff Keighley's interaction with him was cringy.
Oh, okay. Cringier than Crash Bandicoot showing up to his house in the mask?
Yeah, that was terrible. But let's talk about let's talk about the game. You're not excited for a new Crash Bandicoot?
I've never been. I mean,
Jim, careful, careful, careful,
I have
careful.
never been a fan of Crash Bandicoot. It's not that great of a game. Come at me. Come on. Come
You
on.
guys, I'm sorry. We've wasted 10 weeks of your life, 10 hours cumulatively. We can just stop now. This is the last episode. Just go away because Jim is just discredited and
Off.
it's shamed both.
Okay, so I played the remaster. I actually won the remaster in a contest. I won a copy of all the remastered games, and I played through the first. I beat the entire first one. It was okay. It was definitely dated, even with the new graphics, new coat of paint, whatever. But I don't know. It didn't do it for me. But I understand the appeal, and I am glad.
Did you not play them growing up?
No, I don't know what I was playing when those were out, but I wasn't playing that.
Next, you're going to tell me you never played Spyro.
What's Dude, I love Spyro. Come on, that's a game. You're a dragon, you're shooting fire, you're getting gems. Yeah, I'm all over Spyro.
I was going to say, I will punch you in the face.
I will punch Let the record reflect at 40 minutes and 55 seconds. I was threatened physically. Okay, carry on, Phil. I'll say this. All kidding aside. I'm really happy that they're investing time in this IP again, bringing it back again. Even the title, It's About Time, is a joke on how long it took for them to come out. I'm glad they're introducing more characters. You're going to be able to play as the bad guy, whatever. I'm excited. It's not for me, but I can appreciate it, and I'm glad that it had its moment. I really am.
I hope Activision does a good job with it.
I do too. The remake was really well received. It was really lovingly made. Not really by Activision, but I'm hopeful that, you have people who invest. The reality is those kind of platform games, they're really kind of exclusive to Nintendo. I mean, Mario really owns that space. You get a little bit here and there with Rayman. Sometimes you get a little bit here and there with some other franchises. But it's really Nintendo's play space. So I'm glad that somebody else is stepping up and saying, hey, move over Super Lucky's Tale. We're going to make a game on the platform. And I'm excited for that.
Well, look at what PS2 did with all those fun titles. Jak and Daxter, Ratchet and Clank.
Yes.
Sly Cooper. Again, Crash Bandicoot, Spyro.
Right.
They kicked the shit. If they didn't kick the shit out of Nintendo that whole generation, they definitely held their own. There's definitely some chops behind the PlayStation developers. I don't know, man. I'm excited for it, and I think that when they put their mind to it, Naughty Dog can do some incredible things, and I think that Activision can do some incredible things. And I'm excited to talk more about Naughty Dog later in the program.
So the last little piece of news here, I'm just going to gloss over it. Crossfire X Demo is coming this week. It's another Tencent generated game, a wildly popular asset flip in China. It's considered the most profitable game in the world, believe it or not. Nobody's ever heard of it, at least on this side of the world. It's coming with a demo. It's starting tomorrow through the 28th. We are going to play it because it's on Xbox. You don't have to buy another headset or anything, Phil, for your PlayStation. We're going to play it, and we're going to report back next week on what we thought. But I'm going to go out on a limb and say I think it's going to be atrocious.
Okay. I don't care about it at all.
You will.
So I'm going to download it purely to placate you and play it with you.
Thank you.
And then as soon as you get bored of it, I'm going to delete it, and we're going to go back to Call of Duty.
It's my farming simulator 2019. Or 2017.
Oh, good. I'm going to grief the shit out of you then. Remember the other day when I hogtied you and put you on the back of my horse and rode around with you like that?
I do. But
it's going to be like that, but worse.
Oh, man. So for our news, so that's all what's going on in the world. For us, what I really want to talk about, what I'm super excited about, is Phil finally picks up an Xbox One X. You got the Cyberpunk edition.
Yes, I got the Cyberpunk 2077 edition Xbox One bundle with the Johnny Silverhand figurine. It's not a toy. It says it's a figurine, and two badass Cyberpunk 2077 Xbox controllers.
Nice.
I'm super blessed this year. I got this as a birthday present from my in-laws.
Awesome.
My father-in-law and mother-in-law purchased this for me. Extremely generous. It caught me off guard. So I'm excited to play the shit out of it, and it's been a great experience thus far.
Yeah, I'm glad, man. Loading times. I mean, I jokingly say welcome to like 2015 because I don't remember when the X came out, but it was a long time ago. But I have continuously been impressed with the build quality of the Xbox One X that I have. And I'm happy that you have hard drive space. You can now download all these crazy games and not keep installing and uninstalling things. And it's going to look way better and run way better. And that is awesome.
Yeah, I'm stoked. And you actually walked me through some different internal settings the other day. And I've got my HDR and my 4K all good to go on this badass TV I got mounted up over here. And everything's just been running and playing great. And we've been really taking advantage of that 2015 technology and that, 2018 or 2017 game, which is Red Dead Redemption 2.
This is a great transition. I want to talk about our newfound love for Red Dead Redemption 2. You know, I still stand by unpopular opinions. I think the single-player experience in that game was a big zero. I didn't like it. But the multiplayer is something we can agree upon. The multiplayer is actually fun.
Single player isn't a 0, Jim. It could be a 4 or something for you out of 10.
Okay, 0 out of 1. There's a 0 out of 1.
You know what? Here, deal with it.
Deal with it. Okay, it wasn't a 0. Okay, in all fairness, with the graphics and the sound effects, the voice acting, everything, it was a really good game. The problem was outside of the graphics, the voice acting, and the gameplay when you weren't riding on your horse for 4 hours, it was pretty good. The problem is you have to ride your horse for a long time, which, to multiplayer's credit, actually is not sucks. It does not actually suck because we can loot and shoot and grief other players. We can jump on each other's horses. I can get hogtied. We could steal a train which has absolutely nothing on it. But we can have all these fun adventures without Dutch or Micah or anybody else going, "Hey, John, you gonna come back over here now? Let's go do another 30-minute ride." Like, I'm very happy. I'm very happy the world is our oyster and we have jumped in face first and we are having a blast. I really am. This is a very fun game to play.
It is. We're probably going to go play it when we're done here. Well, Jim is going to go make dinner with his wife and feed his dog, but then we're going to probably
I will definitely be online tonight to play this with you. It is the note I have here. I wrote Red Dead Redemption 2 War Stories. And Phil writes, Phil turns into a sociopathic mass murderer at the slightest inkling of a sight by any NPC. Likes to hog tie before his murders. Phil, would you like to elaborate what this is? What are you doing to these poor innocent NPCs?
They're not innocent, all right? They're either like they're walking into my character for some reason and pushing me, or I'll be riding down a trail and for some reason this NPC will veer wildly into my direction in my course of travel. And our horses will butt heads and will fall over, and then they'll get up and shoot me like I did something wrong. So you know what? The second time it happened, I came back and the guy was on his horse and I hogtied him. I yanked him off. I yanked him off and hogtied him, and then I said, "Hey, Jim, come here." And as soon as you got there, I shot him in the head.
So
you're just like, Jesus.
When I play games, this is just one of my weird quirks. I like to frame everything cinematically with the camera. That's just how I play. So as I was walking up to you, I was panning up to show like the horizon, and I could see your character in the silhouette as I'm walking closer, and it kind of looks like you're looking down at him. I'm like, what is he doing? And as I can't pan the camera down for the big reveal, you're standing there with a shotgun like this far from him. And you're like, "Hey, Jim, you here? You here?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm here." Boom! And you just hear like, you see the birds fly away in the trees. And it's like, it just fades to black. I'm like, and then you're like, "All right, you're ready to go?" We just get on the horse and just leave. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, what did this poor guy do? Phil's like, "Fuck him. Fuck that guy." Like,
What was worse, that or when I hogtied the guy and then stabbed him to death?
I was gonna go with you hog tying the guy and running in front of the train and then letting go as the train ran over him. You have a lot of
Okay.
unfortunate, really creative ways to torture these poor people. The one that makes me laugh the most out of all of these is when you hogtied me because for some reason we couldn't figure out initially how to get in a posse. We were standing next to each other, but the game saw us as bitter rivals, which we are not. But the game saw us that way. And you could see, I could smell the smoke coming out of your ears and the little wheels turning as you realize, because I'm like looking at my phone trying to figure out how to party up. I could see you like pulling out your gun, like shooting at me, like punching me, and you're like, oh, I can hurt this guy. Immediately out comes the lasso, and within 3 seconds, you've hogtied me. And you're a cat, like you're doing now. You're cackling like an idiot. And I'm laughing because I'm like, well, whatever. I'm still looking through my phone, trying to figure out how to, like, figure out how to party up. But Phil, no. Phil's already figured out how to grieve people. A for Phil. On my screen, this is where it gets funny, though. This is really the best part. On my screen, it says press X, and I have to tap X to unhog tie myself. So my guy's on the back of the horse, wiggling, right? Wiggling, trying to get loose. And the little meter is filling up slowly. And right before the meter gets to the full mark, Phil's character turns around and punches my guy in the back of the head, like, damn it. And the meter's like, pew, and I have to start all over. And I'm like, asshole. And you, I mean, it is funny. But that was a good 5 minutes of us figuring out just the amount of griefing you could do to people in this game. And you just kept punching me in the head, and I'm like, are you done? And you're like, no.
That was my revenge for Farming Simulator 17.
That's for putting my tractor in a lake.
Oh my god! As soon as I realized that I could hog tie you, it was one of the best moments of my life. It was fantastic. And what made it better is you reacting live. You're like, oh great, you threw the lasso around me, and then I knocked your ass on the ground and hog tied you, and you're like, what? What are you doing? I throw you on the back of my horse, and you're just accepting it at that point. And then I punched your head, and it started all over again. The fun started again. Jim.
I think what makes it so funny is that because you bought like the premium ultra collector edition, your guy is all like head to toe. You look like a cowboy. You have a nice vest. You have like nice boots. You have all the guns. You have a really nice horse. And then there's me. I'm like a really shiny guy in suspenders. No shirt. One suspender's broke open.
He just got a nipple out in the wind.
I got a boob hanging out. I got this long, scraggly beard, and I'm riding on like essentially a donkey at this point. And I'm like, it's like, hey, way to grief the new guy. Like, it's so clear I have no idea what's going on. Like, I have a rock, and I'm like, hey, you want to fight? I mean, like, it really was priceless because it just shows the absurdity of that game. I mean, that had nothing to do with the story, a mission. That's just two idiots out in the rolling hills of wherever this game takes place. Just give me a rope and a shiny hillbilly, and I'll take care of the rest. It was very bizarre. The only criticism I do have, and I do really enjoy the game, it runs beautifully. The sound effects, the graphics, the gameplay, the missions are insanely fun. It is such a slog to actually make any money. I ride on the back of your horse. I jump off my horse, I grab onto you, and we ride your horse because it's like 10 times faster than mine, which is funny in a weird way. But I can't advance in the story in terms of I can't buy a shotgun. I have no money. In every mission we do, I get peanuts.
I'll buy you if we can figure out. If within our posse, because we started the Eat My Ass posse, if within the Eat My Ass posse we can trade between one another, I'll give you my shotgun and go buy another one. It's not a problem.
It's more. I mean, look, I'm sure there's a way. There's probably some sort of community, slush fund where we can transfer money. It's just that the way, and you mentioned this about the economy and stuff. I get it. It's a multiplayer game. You could always buy Rockstar Bucks, whatever the hell they call them. And you could buy money, and you could buy you could throw in real money, put your credit card in, and get everything you want. But if you want to earn it in game, they really, really, really punish you for that. And shotguns costing $500, a horse costing $1,000. When you're getting $3 or $4, it seems like, for completing a long mission, it just is a little infuriating.
Yeah, it's bullshit because the average wage that you can earn in the game is $24 per real in real life hour. That's the average that you're going to make is $24 per character in real life hour. A basic shotgun is $500 in this game.
Yeah.
So you could play for a full day and not be able to afford this shotgun, which is ridiculous because a Mossberg 500 or a Remington 870 Express tactical shotgun is not $1 over $435 at your local Dick's Sporting Goods or whatever.
In today's money, 2020 money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything is so disproportionately expensive.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Like the small things, like an apple is like 40 cents. An apple today is 40 cents.
Yeah.
They say, oh, 40 cents. What are you bitching about 40 cents? Like back in the 1800s, you could rent a hotel room for 40 cents. You could rent a hotel room for a week for 40 cents.
Yeah.
It's just they didn't capture the economy of that time, and it's overly difficult to create wealth within this game. And that's the point of it, is you do missions to make money to buy stuff, and there's not enough missions to get you enough money to do stuff. We're running out of shit to do.
And not only that, you have to restock for every mission. So I'm buying apples and stuff so I can feed my ass, or little cans of beans or whatever they have, because it refills your Deadeye meter, your stamina, all the core system. I have to go buy bullets. Yes, I can loot a little bit in between when I take out waves and waves of enemies, but typically I'm not really getting much ahead. It's like sometimes I break even, or in a particularly hard mission, I lose money. I do all this stuff, and I'm like, wow, I started this mission with $100. I guess you just get $100 for starting. And I'm at like 93, and I'm like, where did my money go? So
yeah,
it is a frustrating system. I don't understand it.
In the time in between 4 o'clock and 5 o'clock when we started recording, I turned the game on and played, and by myself. And in that hour, I was able to attempt 2 missions. One I failed, and it doesn't allow you to pick up where you left off, even though I was 90% of the way done with the mission. So I rage quit and didn't go back to it. And then I went to the second mission, and I got the shit griefed out of me. And it took so much time, and I had to keep healing my horse. I had to keep healing myself. I went through a ton of bullets. I made $12 off that mission, and to resupply myself cost over $60.
Jeez.
So,
yeah, wow.
And that's only to get back to where I was before I started that mission.
Correct.
So, this is going to be a legitimate hindrance as we move forward. We have a lot of fun together, so it will stay fun.
Yeah.
But this grinding and like trying to get our camp better and get your equipment better so that we can be on like an equal plane and attack equally is going to be a Herculean task.
I hope that maybe the game opens up more, and maybe it's our just inexperience of finding better things to do than some of these missions. Maybe it does open up. I remember playing Grand Theft Auto 5 with some of my friends, and you do these heists and you'll pull off 20, 30 grand, and everybody gets a divvy of it. And they're very complex missions. They're fun, and we can definitely figure out how to complete those. But there is some reward there, which allows you to advance. I mean, I haven't been playing a whole lot, only a couple days, but I can't even like buy clothes. Like, I'm wearing suspender with my boob, and that's going to be my guy for a very long time. Because as soon as I make money, I want to upgrade my horse. I want to buy a shotgun. Then I'll worry about cosmetic stuff later. I just want it to be functional, and I'm not even there yet.
Yeah. Well, if you want to upgrade your horse, when we log back in, we can load right into the camp, and I'll put $50 in the kitty, and you can take it out and just go upgrade your horse, because there's a decent horse that you can get for $50.
There is a certain appeal to jumping on the back of your horse, only because I can go on Reddit and look at attendees while you're riding, or tell you inappropriate jokes while we're riding, and I don't have to focus on the game at all. I'm just looking down at my phone and laughing and having fun, and I'm like, hey, you want to hear an inappropriate joke? And you're like, sure. And I don't have to do anything. And my stupid horse is like 15 miles behind us because that piece of shit can't keep up with anything. And I'm like, well, whatever. So we do a mission. We rob a stagecoach, whatever. And you're like, get on your horse. And I'm like, I got to wait for him to catch up. He's like 15 miles behind us. So I think a horse upgrade would definitely help me. But it is an interesting thing because despite that really big, hindrance on the game, it is incredibly fun. And playing with your friends, I think, really does. I know that's kind of a corny thing to say, but it really does heighten the experience in a way that it really makes the game radically different and a lot more fun, for sure.
It does. And not being Arthur Morgan plays a lot into that because we have our own identity. I like, so my character's name is Jack Daniels, and he has two horses, Jim Beam and Johnny Walker. So I've got like an overall theme going,
Very nice.
which is whiskey and bourbon. Named things. Evan Williams is going to be next, probably.
Okay.
But I have my own identity, and it's my personality, and we're playing together, and it's just a lot of fun. It's brilliant.
It is. It's a good game, and I look forward to more adventures. I'm sure we'll get back into Elder Scrolls. It's nice to jump around a little bit and play some different things. We still play a lot of Call of Duty. Red Dead is fun, though. I think it's a very pretty game, by far out of the games we've been talking about on our channel here. It's by far the prettiest game, really one of the prettiest games on the console, period. It looks absolutely incredible on Xbox One X. Really nice lighting quality, really nice, pretty graphics, no screen tear, anything like that. And just having that and then having your friend hog tie you in beautiful 4K clarity, it's a thing of beauty, my friends.
It is. And you know what I'm particularly excited for? Not that we don't have enough games to play together, because the number of games that we're currently engaged in together is growing almost daily, it seems.
Yep.
I'm excited for my brother to give me back my Xbox One copy of Grand Theft Auto 5.
Yeah.
Because I can't wait to be in a modern environment with you, with modern weapons and like cars. Because if there's one thing I love doing in video game, it's driving cars. And I'll be the getaway driver, or you can be. I guess I'll let you sometimes be the driver.
Oh, gee, thanks.
And I'll be the gunner, or you'll be the gunner, and we will just tear up the town,
excited.
and it'll be fucking hilarious.
I'm excited for that, for sure. So to end on a positive note, I want to talk about, because we've panned a lot of things today. This was a warpath.
Yes,
this was a warpath, really going down just sundered earth mentality. You came up with this idea, and I thought it was really good. Our way of spreading a little positivity in the world. The homework this week was the new rotating segment that we'll occasionally do on the show called Who Do You Love, Baby? And what the homework was that Phil gave me was to pick a developer or a studio, franchise, something like that, that you love, and to talk about why you love it. So, Phil, would you like to elaborate?
So, the whole point of us doing this is because we've been discussing how greedy some software companies and developers have gotten recently.
Yeah.
With the microtransactions like
Tencent.
Rockstar, EA, Bethesda, these household names, these beloved franchises are just turning them into money grabs. And I thought, instead of just talking about the negative stuff all the time that we don't like about the industry, why don't we focus on some developers who are doing it the right way? They're delivering games of consistent high quality. It's not a money grab,
Right.
and they're things that people are actually asking for.
Yes.
So what was your pick for this, Jim?
So I picked Coffee Stain Studios, which is a very small little studio. They're most known for their original. They're tiny. There's like 10 of them. They are known for Goat Simulator, which was hysterically broken bad intentionally. But the one that really made me fall in love with them was Satisfactory. And I can't even begin to tell you the hours I've spent on this game with my friends. Shout out to Kevin and Ben, who I've basically hung on your guys' coattails for the entire time you've been playing this game. I just really love them because they just seem very wholesome. Now, Satisfactories is one of those open alpha games. Not open alpha. Early access. It's not completed yet. So they're selling it to you. When the game releases for real, it'll be a full-priced game. Right now, they're giving you an incentive to buy it. They're very, very engaging with their community. They're constantly doing videos. Just to give you an idea of some of this guy's quirkiness, the one thing that makes me really laugh, did you see when Elon Musk came out and unveiled the Tesla truck? Do you remember that?
I do.
So you remember that he hit the truck with a hammer. Maybe it wasn't him. One of his associates did, and it cracked the window.
It's bulletproof. No, it's not.
The next day, Satisfactory had patched in that car with a broken window that you could drive in the game. Just, it was bizarre. It took them 30 seconds to do. They didn't sell it as DLC. They didn't sell it as microtransactions. An Easter egg you had to find. Of course, rumors spread very rapidly on how to do it. But it's just little things like that that's like, that is a feel-good story. It's something we could all laugh at. And they've just always been very engaging with their community. And I appreciate that. And honestly, I think if more studios had the passion that these guys did in engaging with the community, finding bugs and fixing them, or finding a well-documented thing or a feature and making it actually part of the game, I think the world would be a better place in terms of game development. So I'm giving a major shout out to Coffee Stain.
Excellent. Excellent. I'm going to name some games, and I want to see if you can figure out who mine is. I know that you may already, I think I shared it with you. I think you may already know.
I'm looking at it, but let's go ahead and pretend I don't know.
All right. Dream Zone.
Okay, that I don't know. Dream Zone is a game?
Yep. Keef the Thief.
Keef.
Rings of Power.
Keef.
Lee of the Warrior.
These are games. Why is every name like? Why is it like? It's there's too many like mnemonics. Like it's like Jim the Jumper. Like.
Well, these games all preceded a little title that we all affectionately know as Crash Bandicoot. And it is Naughty Dog Studios.
Now I know who you're talking about. Yes.
When they started in Virginia, they were a very small studio, and they made silly little games like Rings of Power, Keef the Thief, Dream Zone, and then they graduated to Harvard University, where they churned out such titles as Crash Bandicoot, the Uncharted franchise, Last of Us, Jak and Daxter, all AAA Platinum, well-received, extremely popular and beloved titles.
Absolutely.
They are a studio that consistently gets it right and consistently play by their rules. Whether they think you're going to like it or not, they tell the story of a character, and it is always a very entertaining and engaging story, and it draws you in. And love it or leave it or hate it or whatever, they stay true to themselves, they stay true to their passion, and they really see these characters through to the end. So, round of applause for Naughty Dog Studios and the one that you chose, Coffee Stain.
Coffee Stain. Now, let me ask you specifically to Naughty Dog. You haven't played Last of Us 2, though.
Nope.
Do you think you're going to?
I do think I'm going to, yes, as soon as I finish playing the first one. But I've seen, so you have to understand, I unequivocally trust your judgment on these things. So when you come back and you spend days with this game and you are giving me these analysis and giving me insight into the story, and I can see the passion conveyed by the way that you're talking to me and talking about it, I understand that this game delivered for you in some way, whether it touched on your sentimentality or it made you rethink the way that you're thinking about games or the way a story could be told, yes. Whatever it is. You are a satisfied customer. You made a serious investment in like the Ultimate Edition or whatever. You're always making fun of me for buying the nice editions. That's what you did here, and you were so excited about it. We actually had a scare. We thought you weren't going to get it.
I texted you my tracking number. I was so petrified, and I was refreshing it. We were talking about it the night before playing Call of Duty, and like after every match, you're like, "Is your package here?" And I'm like, "It's still in Texas."
You were so worried, and I was starting to get worried too, to the point where I thought we were going to have to do something else. But yeah, I love you too, buddy. But it worked out, and it's captivated your whole week basically. And I haven't even been butthurt about that it's stealing all your attention away from me. But I can tell that you're happy, and I played a little bit of the first one, and you know what? Even though in the experience that I had with the first one, it wasn't for me.
Yeah.
That story was told beautifully.
Agreed.
The arena in which it was set, the town, the story, the characters, the graphics, everything was everything that it should have been for that point in time with the technology available to them. And the storytelling is always next level with Naughty Dog. So I don't have to have an intimate relationship with the game myself to know that it's a quality product. And you know what? The Last of Us 2 was one of the most hotly anticipated games of this generation of consoles. And it's gotten mixed reviews. It's in fact one of the number one trending things in unpopular opinions, the subreddit unpopular opinions, is that it's a good game. The general opinion, the commercial reception to this game is that it's bad for some reason. And I don't know why, but I don't believe it because you told me it's good, and I know that you're not biased against most things, excluding
Sony,
Arcane Studios, and Bethesda Softworks, and Sony.
Anything PlayStation. But other than that, I'm pretty even keel. I agree with you. I have been playing it, and I'll save my analysis for a later date. I haven't completed it quite yet. But yeah, I agree. I think those are both good studios, and I think that's I'm happy that we did this segment only because I feel like, one, it's a good way, good positive vibes to end the show, but to also let everybody out there know that, not every developer is a scumbag like EA.
Or Bethesda.
Well, we'll see. We'll talk about Fallout 76 at a later date, and I still think I can convince you to play it.
Jim, they were giving it away for free, and I wouldn't play it.
I know.
But hey, maybe one day you'll convince me. I pretty much blindly download the things you tell me to download, so we'll go ahead and check on that. But is there anything else that you wanted to say, Jim?
Nope, I'm going to leave the final notes to you, sir.
So I guess for as many good video game companies as there are 10 other bad ones, and that's why war never changes.